I'm Jonathan Delbridge, and I've recently recorded a video tutorial for you on Bach's Invention number 8 in F. It's one of his most famous inventions and a great piece for pianists of intermediate, grade 5 and upwards standard. In fact, at this point it is actually on the ABRSM grade 5 piano syllabus. So in the video tutorial I talk about your choice of tempo, what you might do with dynamics, techniques for learning the piece, articulation and much more. But in this shorter introduction tutorial I just want to go over a few of those details, and I want to talk about articulation. So articulation is all about whether we play the notes smooth and connect them together, or if we detach them. And of course there are various degrees of how detached we might make the notes. So we know that Bach wrote these pieces in a period of time when the main keyboard instrument to perform these works was the harpsichord. The harpsichord, unlike a piano, can't adjust the loud or softs from the touch of the keys. So you could play with a firm touch or a lighter touch, but the volume will stay the same. We also know that Bach, his preferred keyboard instrument was actually the clavichord for his own personal enjoyment of music. Now the clavichord is very, very quiet, so it's no good really as a concert instrument, but it does have quite a lot of expressive effects, and Bach particularly appreciated that. So therefore, there's evidence to suggest that if Bach were playing these pieces on a modern instrument, like we have today, he would certainly include some expression. Going back to the harpsichord though, the main way to achieve expression on a harpsichord is through the articulation. If I play a group of notes, if I make one of those notes more legato, you may have noticed it makes that note stand out a little bit. And almost gives the impression that those notes are slightly louder than the others. So, when we look at Bach's invention in F, should we play it with a legato touch or staccato, or various different degrees? CPE Bach, which was one of Bach's sons, told us that music of this period was normally played with a detached touch unless notes were slurred. In fact, he says that notes should be played with half their length. So instead of quavers at the beginning, we would imagine semiquavers with semiquaver rests between each note. Now if we play all the notes slightly detached like that, it's quite effective, it gives it a really light feel. But there are places where we may want to slightly emphasise a note. For example, the beginning of a bar. So if I make that F a bit more legato, that gives an emphasis there. And same again on the next bar. I also think there are passages later in the piece where the quavers may want some various articulations. So if we look at bar 18 and 19, the right hand does this. And if we play them all with the same articulation, I don't think that's particularly as interesting as perhaps if we vary that articulation. So here's a suggestion. So I'm making the first two in the bar more legato. And then I continue that idea into the left hand, when the left hand has quavers. So what I would encourage you to do is to experiment with the articulation as you initially do your separate practice. Yes, mostly it wants to be detached, but do try using more legato approaches at times to perhaps point out notes that you want to give a little bit of emphasis to. And also remember that staccatos can have various amounts of detached. So for example, I can make it more detached as I go through the bar. So do experiment with lots of different articulation in this work and indeed in all of Bach's music. I hope you found those few ideas on articulation useful. The full tutorial goes into a lot more detail, and I discuss various other aspects, tempo, dynamics, fingering, all sorts of things, which I'm sure you'll find really useful in studying this wonderful piece of music. So please do check out the full tutorial. Follow the link in the description underneath this video. And thank you very much for watching.